Exposed, 7 sinister rules my grandfather left behind for surviving the cursed Smoky Mountains. Lily couldn't shake the sense of dread as she pulled open the creaky attic door. Dust motes danced eerily in the beam of sunlight, filtering through the dusty window. When she stepped inside, the decay hung thick in the air, like whispered secrets. Her grandfather's old leather journal, tattered and frayed, sat on a dusty shelf, as if waiting for her. There, inscribed in shaky handwriting, were the ominous words, 7 sinister rules for surviving the cursed Smoky Mountains. Panic gripped her. Were these just wild tales, or had her family buried truths far darker than bedtime stories? Rumors had spread like wildfire across Oak Ridge lately. Neighbors whispered about eerie figures stalking the woods, and mysterious disappearances rattled the once tight-knit community. They claimed a predator lurked in the shadows, a creature that wore familiar faces. Anyone could be next. She winced, remembering her mom's recent frailty, her dad's silent struggles after losing his job. The pressure of their lives seemed to twist around her, suffocating. Then, Caroline called. "Let us explore the mountains. It'll be fun. Don't you want an adventure?" The thrill of her friend's excitement pulled at Lily, igniting a spark of defiance against the oppressive atmosphere of fear. But that spark felt dangerous, misleading, like a flickering flame promising warmth but burning everything in its path. As they hiked through untamed trails, surrounded by towering trees, a chill slithered down Lily's spine. Shadows moved just beyond their sight, branches creaked ominously overhead, and the silence felt heavy, almost alive. Each rustle sent her heart racing, pounding against her ribcage. Then, they met him. A local man clad in rugged outdoor gear, his eyes were intense, piercing. "You girls shouldn't be wandering this deep," he warned, his voice low. "The mountains can twist the mind. Heed the rules your grandfather laid down." Lily's breath hitched. How did he know? What rules? "Forget him," Caroline laughed, brushing the tension aside. But Lily felt the weight of the moment. Something was off. Better safe than sorry, she whispered to herself. Hours later, the sun dipped behind the hills, leaving a dusky gloom plastering shadows against their faces. They set up camp, adrenaline still surging. But then it happened, Caroline was gone. Just like that. One moment she was there, the next swallowed by the mountain's dark embrace. Lily's heart raced, pounding, until it felt like the ground itself trembled beneath her. "Caroline!" She screamed, voice cracking. Only echoing silence returned. Panic rushed in like the cold around her, gnawing at her sanity. As they searched, the shadows didn't feel merely creepy anymore, they felt alive, hiding secrets. The stories about the sinister governor of the forest echoed in Lily's mind. The urge to flee pulled at her legs, but where could she run? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. They pressed on through the oppressive armed forest, fingers trembling as they clutched flashlights that seemed feeble against the encroaching blackness. Shadows whispered around them, shifting into shapes that teased the edge of Lily's vision. Family secrets clawed at her mind, threatening to unravel everything she believed. Just as despair threatened to sink its claws into her, a familiar voice floated through the darkness, soft yet haunting. "Help us, Lily." The wind carried it, wrapping around her like the cold embrace of death. Fear sat heavy in her stomach. As she realized, the real danger didn't just wear a mask, it could be lurking in the people she trusted most. Time was running out, and with Caroline lost amidst the unforgiving landscape, Lily knew one thing: surviving the night would demand everything she had left, forcing her to confront the dark roots of her family's past. The mountains held their secrets tight, and she would have to untangle the truth or be swallowed by it completely. The wind howled through the trees, carrying a chilling resonance that echoed Lily's heartbeat. She stumbled through the dense underbrush, the flashlight beam quivering like her own resolve. "Caroline!" She cried again, desperation painting her voice. The forest swallowed her words, leaving only silence in return, a silence that felt heavy and mocking. The fading light made her nerves threadbare. Every snap of a twig or rustle of leaves turned into a malevolent whisper. Above her, shadows seemed to dance, warped silhouettes that defied the gentle sway of the branches. She could almost hear them breathing, waiting. The voice returned, stronger this time. "Help us, Lily." It slithered through the darkness, clawing at her sanity. Were those her imagination, or was something out there, something that wanted her to follow? Panic surged, but something deeper, a gut-wrenching pull, drew her toward the sound. Stumbling across a clearing choked with fog, she caught the faint glimmer of something shiny. Her heart raced as she drew closer. It was Caroline's bracelet, the one with the charm shaped like a tiny key. The last time she'd seen it, it was on Caroline's wrist, a present from her grandmother. A glimmer of hope flickered as she knelt to pick it up. Maybe it meant Caroline wasn't too far gone. But then she heard a rustling behind her, loud and deliberate. Lily's muscles tensed, and she swung the flashlight in a wide arc. "Who's there?" Her voice trembled, betrayed by fear. The shadows shifted again, coalescing into a figure that emerged from the fog. A man loomed, tall and broad-shouldered, dressed in weathered clothing that seemed to meld with the trees themselves, his face obscured by deep shadows. "You shouldn't be here," he rasped, his voice low and gravelly. "The rules must be followed. Get away from me." She shouted, advancing with the flashlight, but the beam flickered, dimming and brightening erratically. Her heart banged against her ribs, thrumming a chaotic rhythm in time with the terror cascading through her. "Your family's past is not something you can escape," he continued, eyes glinting like shards of ice. "You must know these rules or everything will unravel." Lily's mind raced as the darkness pressed closer, the air thickening with dread. What rules? Was this man a warning or a threat? The thought of her grandfather's journal flooded her mind. The rules. They were meant to keep her safe, but how could she remember what she hadn't fully read? The deepening darkness drowned her in uncertainty, yet the voice called again, more desperate now. "Help us, Lily." "Caroline." The name ripped out of her throat. The man's form shivered, then faded into the shrouded trees without a sound, as if beckoned by the shadows themselves. Alone again, she felt herself spiraling into despair. But she couldn't give in. Turner's words echoed, "Heed the rules." With shaking hands, she fumbled through the weighty shadows to the journal in her backpack. Gritting her teeth, she flipped through the stiff, brittle pages lit by that dim, fading beam of light. "Do not trust those who wear familiar faces." A shiver ran through her. What did that mean? As the forest around her deeply inhaled against the encroaching night, she sensed how aware it was of her presence. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced through the stillness, echoing across the mountains, and Lily jolted, realizing it sounded like Caroline. "Help!" The cry echoed again, too far away yet right within her head. There was no time to waste. She sprinted back further into the thicket, pulse pounding in her ears. Each footfall echoed something primal within her, a mix of terror and the pulsing desire to find her friend. But the rules were unraveling, threading through the woods, twisting with each frantic heartbeat. And the monstrous truth began to seep in: the mountains might have more in store than just dark secrets. She could feel it lurking, shifting around her. Was something playing with her mind? As surround shadows deepened, legions of the unseen joined the chorus of the night, as doubt clawed at Lily from within. And in that moment, she realized she wasn't just racing against time, she was racing against something much more sinister. Would she unravel the truth in time to unearth Caroline's fate, or had the mountains already claimed them both? The answer waited just beyond her reach, and dread painted every breath she took. The wind screeched again, sending shivers down Lily's spine. Each gust felt like a warning, a harbinger of the horrors that lay waiting in the dark. Trees loomed like sentinels, their branches twisting and contorting as if reaching out to snatch her away. The flashlight flickered, its weak beam sputtering as if it, too, sensed the oppression closing around her. Her heart raced, echoing the rhythm of Caroline's screams. With each hurried step, the chilling thought danced in her mind: what if she was too late? What if the sinister figure had already claimed her friend? Desperation clawed at her insides, pushing her deeper into the suffocating woods. Then, without warning, the scream ceased. A haunting silence washed over the forest, almost palpable. There should have been noise, the rustle of leaves, the cries of night creatures, but all was still. A sense of dread gripped her stomach, twisting it painfully. "Caroline!" she yelled, more of a plea than a call. Nothing came back aside from the echoes of her own voice. The darkness pressed in, and she stumbled, her foot snagging on a root. Pitching forward, she landed hard on the forest floor, her flashlight slipping from her grasp and tumbling into the underbrush. Her breath quickened, and she fought against the rising panic. Scrabbling to her feet, Lily felt a cold breeze wash over her, the kind that raises the hair on the back of your neck. A whisper curled through the silence, wrapping around her like a chilling embrace. "Help us stop it!" she yelled out, fury mixed with fear. The whispers grew, not just echoes but voices, faint at first, then layering over each other until they turned into a cacophony. "Help us, Lily, don't leave us here." They sounded like children, lost and terrified, tugging at her heart. She scrambled to retrieve her flashlight, fingers trembling as she strained to keep it steady against the oppressive night. The beam jumped wildly as she hoisted it up, illuminating the trees, the thick trunks suddenly appearing as looming giants in the haze. Her heart sank when she saw it. A figure stood just beyond the light's reach, barely visible, but unmistakably there. It was a girl, her hair light as spun gold, the same shade as Caroline's. "Caroline?" Lily stammered, throat tight. No, it's not me." The girl's voice was strained, almost like it was being pulled from her throat by unseen hands. "Run. You have to run." Lily's instincts screamed at her to bolt, but her legs felt paralyzed. Instead, she looked deeper into the shadows, searching for another glimpse. The branches shifted, hiding secrets, the whispers intensified, weaving through the air as if darting about like fireflies. "Lily. You must remember the rules. Trust no one." Panic surged anew as the girl's silhouette vanished, surrounded by darkness. The rules. Did they mean the same rules the cloaked figure had spoken of? A thrill of cold terror swept through her. Could the boy be another deception too? She turned and ran, panic pushing her faster, heart hammering as the echoes chased her, relentless whispers clawing at her mind. What did the rules mean? What were they supposed to protect her from? Just then, the ground beneath her shifted, an unseen force pulling her down. She stumbled and fell again, hitting the earth hard. A sharp pain radiated from her ankle, but she had no time to dwell on it. Breathing raggedly, she pushed herself up, adrenaline fueling her. "Caroline. I'm coming!" she screamed, an empty promise. As she stood, the shadows constricted closer, their tendrils wrapping around her, threatening to swallow her whole. Gasping, she staggered forward, struggling against the imminent darkness. But then, unexpectedly, she felt a rush of warmth, an echo of connection, as if the ground wanted to ground her, pull her into its bosom. It was wrong. It was wrong. "Don't listen." The shadows cried, but it was too late. Lily took another step, stepping into the fog, leaving the edge of reason behind. Had she plunged into madness? The whispers turned twisted, transforming into laughter, a cruel symphony breaking through the eerie silence. And that chilling realization dawned: what if she couldn't escape at all? In that moment, she heard something that shattered her heart, chilling her to the bone. A desperate shout that echoed against the darkness, but it wasn't Caroline's voice. It sounded like her own. The mountains were watching, waiting. What horrors lay ahead in this den of shadows that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality? And who would be left standing when the last of the rules fell? Each breath felt heavy, thick like fog pressing against her chest as Lily forced herself forward. The shadows closed in, an inky embrace swirling and curling around her limbs. She felt the forest alive, almost breathing, an unseen predator waiting for her to falter. Caroline. The name sliced through the silence, desperate and trembling. Amid the suffocating darkness, flickers of ghostly shapes danced just beyond the edges of her vision. Were they remnants of her imagination? No, they felt too real, too tainted with loneliness. A soft sob cut through the air, hanging like a bitter reminder of the girl she was searching for. Her gut twisted. Caroline, I'm coming. But at the sound of her own words, the shadows seemed to shudder, almost mocking her. Then, surrendering entirely to the terror, Lily pushed on, her ankle throbbing with every uneven step. The whispers surged again, a storm of fragmented cries. They swirled around her, intertwining. You'll never find her. You'll join us. Lily clutched her flashlight, the flickering beam like a dying heartbeat. It illuminated the gnarled trees, roots snaking out like claws digging into the soil. Each face within the bark seemed to leer at her, eyes glimmering with malicious intent. She wanted to scream, to tear herself away from this nightmare, but her body betrayed her, ensnared in roots of fear. Remember, Lily. A fierce, childlike voice hissed. The rules. What rules? Panic clouded her thoughts, but she could feel the fraying edges of the rules lapping at her consciousness. Were they meant to guide her? To protect her? Shadows flickered closer, teasing her, whispering promises and threats in the same breath. Trust no one, trust no one. A burst of strength surged through her, a primal fight instinct awakened. She pivoted, eyes darting around. Deep breaths focus, but the air tasted of decay, a smell so sickly sweet it made her stomach churn. She took a deep breath, swallowing the urge to gag. There. A flicker of movement, something darted between the trees like a darting firefly. Caroline. She rushed towards it, desperation clawing at her throat. But as she neared, the warm glow blinked out, extinguished by the shadows, and she stumbled into an opening where the trees stood still. Before her lay a clearing engulfed in thick mist, swirling like spirits trying to rise. The ground was cooler, nearly damp. Yet something felt wrong, it was too quiet, too expectant. What now? She whispered, uncertainty creeping over her. As she stepped further, the atmosphere thickened, and the silhouettes she saw before were suddenly there, standing in the misty gloom. They were indistinct faces twisted in agony, eyes wide and soulless. Lily gasped, sweat pooling at her brow. You're not real. Help us, one of them murmured, and in that moment, something broke inside her, a thread of sanity, fraying even more. How long had she been running? Hours? Days? Could anyone have survived this damned place? Then, a thought as chilling as ice swept through her. What if she was already one of them? Before she could reconcile that fear, a loud crack rang out, a branch splitting nearby. She whipped around, flashlight beam darting. There he stood, tall and cloaked in shadows, the figure from the night before, eyes glowing like embers. He smiled, cruel and knowing. You've come to learn the truth. He lifted an arm, gesturing towards the clearing. They are waiting for you, Lily, just as I promised. Her head spun, fear clawing at her insides. What do you mean? Where is Caroline? Caroline? His laughter rumbled through the woods, deep and echoing, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. Something crunched behind her. She turned, pulse racing. Empty. But that whispering out there, it seemed darker, closer. Shadows warred to snatch her back. "Get away from me!" Lily yelled, despite the chill crawling down her spine. The figure leaned in, shifting closer, breath pooling in her ears. "You must choose to join or to suffer." The forest erupted in howls, raucous cries shredding the air as if the very trees were alive with fury. Lily felt the weight of many eyes upon her. What choice? But the figure just smiled wide, a grin that unveiled sharp teeth. "The rules, dear girl, are about to change." And just like that, the fog thickened, closing in. Sounds of laughter echoed, mingling with the cries of the tormented. Lily stumbled back, heart racing as the shadows closed in. What awaited her in this place? Or worse yet, what was lost that she might never find? The forest's grip tightened, drawing her deeper into darkness. Would she uncover the rules or become part of the horrific stories whispered among the trees? The shadows pulsed around Lily, a pulsing mass of despair, as the figure's grin widened. She felt the pull, the longing for freedom, but also an insidious allure creeping into her mind, a sinister whisper promising sanctuary if she only let go. The trees closed tighter, their gnarled limbs reaching out as if forming a cage around her. "Join them, Lily," the cruel voice urged, and Lily's heart seized. The faces of the lost ones shifted closer, their mouths forming words she couldn't hear but felt nevertheless, the urge to listen, to be part of them gnawing at her sanity. "Stop!" Lily cried, shaking her head violently. "I want to join you." But her voice felt small, swallowed by the howling wind that swept through the clearing, the chilling laughter entwining with the desperate wails. She stumbled backward, tripping over roots that seemed to writhe beneath her feet. "Run, Lily! Find her before it's too late." A voice broke through the cacophony, familiar and pure. It was Caroline. Her heart thundered, pushing her to fight past the shadows crowding in on her. "Caroline! I'm coming!" was all she could muster. The very air turned thick with dread as she spun toward the darkness where the voice had echoed, impulsive and frantic. The forest was alive, shifting and pulsating, as she moved. Shapes darted in the depths of the shadows, taunting, and yet, somehow reassuring, a beacon of hope amidst the fear. She raced through the mist, the light from her flashlight flickering like a dying ember. Just ahead, she could make out a trail leading deeper into the heart of the forest. But as she took a step, a figure materialized from the darkness, its form shifting, constantly changing like a mirage. "You seek to escape?" it hissed, its voice a whisper of smoke. "You can't comprehend the depths of the curse." "Who are you?" Lily shouted, standing her ground. She felt the cold grip of terror tightening around her like a noose. "I am what they fear most," the figure murmured, stepping into the light. The flashlight caught the face, but it was a twisted mockery of humanity, hollow eyes and a smile that stretched too wide. "And so are you, Lily." She recoiled, her breath freezing in her chest. "I'm not like you. I'm not cursed." But the doubt crept in, a dark tendril weaving through her thoughts. How long had she wandered? Hours? Days? Only time will tell, it echoed, fading into the mist. The shadows thickened, the whispers transforming into a unified chant. Join us, no." Lily pressed forward, panic fueling her. If she lost her determination now, she'd become one of them, a lost soul in endless torment. The haunting calls twisted around her, drowning out her thoughts. "Caroline! Where are you?" she screamed, her chest constricting with fear and urgency. She pushed through the swirling fog, inching deeper into the woods as the cries continued to follow her. Then she spotted it, a flicker of movement, a silhouette darting ahead. "Caroline!" Lily lunged towards it, heart racing, praying it was real. But as she drew closer, the shadow vanished, dissolving into an inky blackness that threatened to swallow her whole. The laughter returned, louder now, mocking her. "You'll never find her," she stumbled back, rage exploding within her. "I will. The words echoed, fierce yet vulnerable. You can't keep me here. Just then, the ground beneath her trembled, the forest shuddering at her defiance. The trees groaned, their branches swaying as if a storm were brewing. The energies twisted, an alien force rising up as if to respond to her challenge. Choose your allies wisely, Lily. The voice resonated from everywhere and nowhere. These woods are hungry, and we have all the time in the world. The shadows circled closer, an insatiable entity lunging toward her resolve. With a final surge of defiance, Lily ran again, but this time, the question pounded in her mind, what if she wasn't searching for Caroline at all? What if this relentless chase was only leading her deeper into the curse? The mists thickened, and just as her hope began to wane, she spotted another glowing light flickering, beckoning her forward. Was it another trick? Or could it be the real Caroline? Lily took a deep breath, steeling herself. What lay ahead could be her salvation or her doom. In this dark maze of despair, one thought ignited a flicker of hope. If the rules had changed, perhaps she could change them too. But how? What would be the price, and were the shadows willing to pay it? The light flickered like a star long fallen, hinting at safety yet cloaked in uncertainty. Lily's heart raced louder than the storm brewing around her. What if it was just another illusion crafted to pull her deeper into the darkness? She took a shaky step towards it, the ground soft and yielding underfoot, pulling at her with each movement, as if the earth itself were conspiring to keep her here. Caroline. She called again, her voice swallowed by the thick fog. Each syllable felt heavy, like stones tossed into a murky abyss. She squinted into the white haze, hoping for a figure to emerge from the unrelenting gloom, praying it was her friend and not another cruel apparition. The air crackled, charged with something otherworldly and unsettling. As she drew closer, the light expanded, revealing a clearing that felt impossibly serene amidst the chaotic shadows that loomed beyond its borders. For a brief moment, she hesitated. What if she stepped out of the shadows only to find a trap? But something within urged her on. Caroline needed her. That voice, vivid and real, rang in her ears like a fire alarm pulling her from oblivion. With resolve surging through her veins, Lily darted into the clearing, the light temporarily shielding her from the impending darkness. There in the center stood an old lantern, its faint glow flickering wildly yet managing to hold the shadows at bay. In its light, the air shimmered, revealing strange symbols carved into the earth, swirling and intertwining warnings or a map. She didn't know. Panic clawed at her throat. Lily, you found me. The voice sent a jolt through her. Caroline's figure materialized from the edge of the clearing. Relief crashed over her, followed by the realization that something was dreadfully wrong. As Lily ran to embrace her, a chilling laugh echoed from behind them. Your friend is lost too. The sinister voice rolled through the air, heavy with menace. You can't save her, not here. Lily turned, eyes wide, meeting those hollow eyes that had haunted her moments before. What do you mean? Caroline is one of them now, the figure said, stepping into the light. The resemblance was uncanny yet repulsive. Caroline's face twisted in ways that should not be possible, her smile spreading too wide. She belongs to the forest, just as you will. No! Lily shrieked, terror electrifying her body. She gripped Caroline's arms, searching for any sign of recognition, hoping desperately that somehow her friend would break through that grotesque facade. Fight it, Caroline. You're still in there. Caroline's hollow laughter joined the chorus of whispers around them. You must accept it, Lily. This is your fate, too. The trees want you, just as they wanted me. A cold sweat dripped down Lily's spine. The fiery glow of the lantern flickered dangerously as shadows stretched toward them like hungry hands. They could no longer stay in this haven, however fragile it was. Run! Lily yelled, and without waiting for a response, she pulled Caroline along, sprinting back toward the mists. The shadows lashed out, sharp as claws, grazing her arm as they fled. Why do you fight? Caroline asked, her voice suddenly normal yet tinged with a haunting echo. You're one of us. Don't you want to join us? We can be free together. No. Lily screamed. You're not lost to them, Caroline. You're fighting, I know you are. As they plunged back into the foreboding fog, Lily felt the shadows clawing at her, tugging at her will. The whispers intensified, a cacophony of voices that mixed with Caroline's laughter. Join us, join us. But Lily would not yield. She could feel the pull from the dark woods, the desire to give in swirling like an eddy in her mind. I will save you, whatever it takes. She roared into the mist. The ground bucked beneath them, and the trees shuddered violently, as if responding to her defiance. She turned to look at Caroline, hoping for a glimpse of the girl she had known. Lily, Caroline's voice came out in a soft, chilling whisper that sent shivers down Lily's spine. What if I don't want to be saved? The question echoed in the air, leaving her breathless with an unshakable dread. The shadows seemed to laugh, hungry for her doubt. Which path would Lily choose? Salvation or surrender? In that moment, the choice felt impossibly heavy. As the darkness closed in, she realized that the true test was just beginning. What would it mean to confront the darkness within? And what if this fight was merely the precursor to something far worse? Lily's feet pounded against the uneven ground, heart racing as the fog thickened around them. Each breath felt heavier, the air thick with whispers that pulled at her sanity. Caroline, stay close. She couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows were alive, shifting and reaching toward them, hungry for a taste of fear. Maybe I don't want to. Caroline's voice trailed off, blending into a whispering wind that made Lily's skin crawl. That laughter wrapped around her like a shroud, but the words twisted in her mind, gnawing at her resolve. Was her friend truly lost? What did it mean to be free? Focus, Caroline. Lily's voice was a desperate plea as she darted to the left, avoiding an unexpected route that lunged at her, as if the forest itself was trying to trip her up. You're still in there, I know you are. But the echo of Caroline's laughter was nothing but hollow. With each passing second, Lily felt the grip of the darkness tightening, the trees closing in, binding her in an embrace of despair. No matter how fast she moved, it felt like invisible hands were reaching for her, tugging, grasping, capturing her soul in their icy grip. Why fight it? Caroline's tone shifted as they ran, becoming almost hypnotic. You could be one of us, Lily. Just let go. No. Lily screamed back, the word a shield against the encroaching darkness. She felt her own fears swirling around her, tempting her, promising solace if she simply surrendered. I want to let you go. You're my friend. Through the swirling fog, she caught glimpses of shapes, hunched silhouettes lurking between the trees, casting long, sinister shadows that twisted unnaturally. Each shape pulsed with energy, a grotesque mockery of life, taunting her as if to say she would soon join them, one way or another. Suddenly, Caroline stumbled, and for a fleeting moment, she seemed to transform. The flicker of familiarity in her eyes sparked hope within Lily. Caroline. She lunged forward, gripping her friend tightly, dragging her another step away from the abyss. Fight it. Remember our games? We used to explore just like this. You love the woods, don't you want to see the sunset? The connection was so slight, yet it felt monumental. For the briefest of moments, tranquility washed over them, as if the world held its breath. But then Caroline thrashed in Lily's hold, a primal scream erupting from her lips, cutting through the fog. Let me go. The words were a dagger, sharp and resounding, as Caroline pulled free, her expression slipping back into that malevolent grin. You don't understand. Anguish flooded Lily as she watched. Caroline, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. Please. Yet the shadows seized the moment, rushing in, swirling with a fury that sent Lily tumbling backward into the muck. She rolled to her feet, scrambling up just in time to see Caroline's silhouette melt back into the fog, merging with the darkness consuming the forest. "This way." A raspy voice echoed from the depths, drawing her back into the maze of trees. "Follow us." "You want to belong," panic clawed at Lily's throat as she clamped her eyes shut, trying to block out the insistent calls. She heard the rustling of leaves, whispers growing louder, urgency rising in a cacophony that rang through her mind. Could she ignore them? Could she resist the call to succumb? With each step, the ground quaked beneath her, the forest alive with hungry energy, pulsing like a heartbeat. Goosebumps erupted along her skin as she felt eyes watching, creeping dread invading her thoughts. And then silence fell. An oppressive quiet blanketed the woods, thicker than the fog entwined around her. Where was Caroline? Where was the light? She could feel the pulse of the forest, a rhythm urging her to fall, to surrender, to join the rooted spirits around her. No, she refused to listen. A flash of determination surged through her, but doubt lingered, coiling around her heart. She had to find a way out. She had to save her friend. Just as she turned to run deeper into the trees, something cold wrapped around her ankle, yanking her back with a force that stole her breath. She fell, sprawling into the damp earth, heart pounding furiously. A relentless whisper echoed, "You cannot escape, you belong to us now." Lily gasped, eyes wide with terror, as darkness swelled, overcoming the faint glow of the lantern. The forest pulsed as a heartbeat, waiting for her choice. Would she drown in despair or claw her way back to the surface? Will you follow the light or let it consume you? With the forest watching, she felt it, something lurking just beyond the edge of her vision, and a question loomed in her mind: what if the choice was never hers to make? A chill shot through Lily as she hit the ground, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The darkness twisted around her, almost sentient, eager to claim her. Panic surged again as she tugged at her ankle, the cool grip refusing to release her. She could hear the whispers return, 1,000 voices merging into a single haunting melody that echoed through the trees. Join us, join us." It was a rhythmic chant, a pulse that mimicked her racing heart. "No!" she cried, feeling a fierce anger swelling inside. She kicked at the cold tendril around her ankle, pushing herself off the ground and scrambling back. The earth felt alive beneath her, thorns clawing at her feet, the roots entwining like serpents trying to drag her down. Lily spun around, wild eyes scanning the thick fog, searching for any sign of Caroline or a way out. "Caroline! Can you hear me?" Her voice wavered, swallowed by the oppressive silence that followed. But then, through the haze, there was movement. A figure loomed at the edge of her vision, it swayed, barely more than a silhouette. It was tall and blurred, seeming to shift like smoke, just out of reach. "Lily," the voice was a soft rasp that sent shivers down her spine. "I'm here, come to me." Hope flickered, but mistrust emerged quickly. Could it really be Caroline? "Stay away from me." There was panic in her voice now, but she forced herself to stand, to drag her spirit above the tide of fear washing over her. "You're not my friend." The figure hesitated, as if hurt by the words. "I'm trying to help you, help me." Lily stared into the fog, her heart pounding painfully in her chest. "You want to take me back into that darkness? I can feel it. You're not the same." The figure recoiled, shadows spilling around it like dark ink. Then it lunged forward, the distinct shape of Caroline emerging from the shadows, her eyes hollow and glistening with an unnatural light. "You don't need to fight, Lily. Let it in. We need you, know." Lily screamed, a surge of desperate strength coursing through her. She turned again, willing her body to move, but the dark tendril around her ankle tightened, pulling her back to the ground with unnatural force. With a surge of adrenaline, she reached down, grabbing onto the cold, slimy grasp and started to claw it away. Her nails tore against the earth, the sound a frantic scrape that echoed in the stillness surrounding her. It felt endless, like the forest itself was pulling her deeper into a shared abandoning. And then, just as her fingers broke free of the grasp, the woods erupted in an explosion of sound and movement. The trees shuddered, branches snapping like bones, and a spectre emerged, a grotesque conglomeration of forest debris, twisted limbs, and shadows. It towered, almost forming a monstrous figure with an insatiable hunger for her fear. With a primal scream ripping from her throat, Lily turned her back on Caroline and the monster, sprinting into the fog. Each step echoed like a heartbeat, pounding against her will, but the trees twisted and warped, making it impossible to find a clear path. "Lily! Come back!" Caroline's voice rang after her, laced with despair, but Lily pressed on, refusing to look back. The whispers grew louder, merging into a maddening symphony that tugged at her mind, promising mercy if she would just give in. She felt her resolve trembling but forced it back. "I will not," she gasped, forcing each word through clenched teeth. Finally, she broke free from the immediate clutches of fog into a small clearing, a faint light glimmering ahead. The relief was overwhelming, but it was fleeting. The moment she stepped into the light, it flickered like a dying flame. Fear stormed back, thick and consuming. Behind her, the forest roared, the dark laughter merging with Caroline's cries for help. "You don't understand. You can't escape." Panic surged again. Was it really worth it? She could give in, join them. Be free. But even as the thought crossed her mind, the shadowy remains of the forest pushed in. What if there was a way to save her friend, and herself? Lily stepped closer to the light, feeling its warmth creep over her skin, but the dark figures closed in again. They beckoned her, pulling her with promises of safety. She felt herself wavering, heart racing, soul screaming. "Lily, don't." The warning echoed from the shadows that were creeping closer, and something deep inside her flared with recognition. What was she about to do? Could it really be that easy? With a scream lost in the void, she made her choice, but it felt like the ground beneath her vanished, leaving only a void. What choice was left when there was nothing but darkness? The darkness engulfed her completely, a suffocating blanket that stretched endlessly in all directions. Weightlessness took hold as if she were suspended in nothingness. Panic unleashed within her as confusion and despair swirled together in a maddening dance. She screamed, but no sound emerged, the darkness consumed every shred of her voice. Then, a whisper cut through the silence, slicing her thoughts apart. "Remember." Lily strained to decipher the voice, her heart racing. It was faint, crackling at the edges like static. Who are you?" She pressed, every nerve ending on fire. The darkness shifted, and bits of familiarity began to cascade down like soft rain. Images flooded her mind, fights with Caroline, camping adventures, and hidden fears. The memories collided with something else, visions of a shadowy figure, a familiar stranger who had warned her about the forest. "Your grandfather." The voice became clearer, echoing against the walls of the void. "He left the rules, to survive." Lily's thoughts returned to the stories he used to tell, tangled with caution and mystery. "The rules?" she whispered, grasping for anything that could pull her back to safety as the void trembled around her. "What were they?" Yes, the voice drifted, weaving in and out of focus with each syllable. "Listen carefully. Rule 1, never look back. You lose your soul when you do." She could feel the tendrils of the void reach for her, keep her shackled in despair. The memory of Caroline's hollow eyes flashed before her. Wouldn't they be watching, waiting? What would happen if she turned to face them? Rule 2, trust no one, not even those who call you friend. They might already be claimed. Lily felt like she was drowning under the weight of her own fears. Could Caroline have already been lost to the darkness? She pressed her eyes shut, enveloped in thoughts filled with dread. What next? Rule 3, always seek the light. It will only appear when you need it most. From the corner of her mind, a soft glow flickered, an ethereal warmth that ignited a flicker of hope. She pushed against the blackness, grasping for that fleeting luminescence. I see it. The voice withdrew for a moment, and with it came a haunting chime, as if time itself were suspending her between moments. Remember, the light is not always what it seems. It may be a trap lure made of memories. Then what do I do? Desperation clawed at her throat, tightening like a noose. Proceed with caution. Rule 4. Trust your instincts, but listen to the silence. Silence. Could she trust the silence around her? It felt heavy and weighty, trapping her with the echoes of her own fears. Rule 5. The forest feeds on fear. The voice turned somber now, cutting through her with chilling certainty. What you feel can become your weapon or your downfall. Lily took a shaky breath as fragments of memories swept through her like fallen leaves in a storm. Moments of fear where she'd felt small and powerless. They hadn't just been memories, they were breadcrumbs leading her toward the light. The void began to dissolve, flickering like a dying film. Keep going. Rule 6. Forgive those who have left you behind. Cling to the love they want you to live. But Caroline, the name slipped out, fragile. A shaky breath accompanied it, the memory of her friend's warmth almost tangible. Rule 7. If the darkness calls, do not answer. A pang echoed in her chest. Could she really abandon her friend? Was it selfish to want to survive without Caroline? The weight of every one of those rules pressed down hard, stirring an inferno of conflict within her. Lily felt the boundary of the void shift once more, a crack widening as the light grew closer. But what awaited her in that brightness? What truth would it reveal about her choices? Deafening whispers rushed in, scrapping against her resolve. Somewhere deep, a voice pleaded for freedom, but the darkness threatened to engulf everything once more. With a surge of fear and bravery, she leaped toward the light, every instinct screaming at her. Would she find escape, or merely another layer of horror behind her grandfather's wisdom? As she crossed the threshold, she felt the eyes of the forest watching, waiting. What awaited her inside the light? Would she finally understand her fate or become yet another lost soul intertwined with the twisted trees? Lily burst through the barrier of light and stumbled back into reality, gasping for breath. The brightness enveloped her, almost blinding, but she could feel its warmth around her like a protective embrace. For a moment, she faltered, allowing the light to seep through her bones, pushing away the shadows that clawed at her heels. Then, her surroundings came into focus. The clearing was still there, but it felt different now, as though the shadows beyond the periphery had been momentarily held at bay. She was back, still in the Smoky Mountains but armed with the knowledge her grandfather's voice had imparted. The memories stirred inside her, illuminating the path she needed to take. Caroline! She shouted, heart racing, echoing back through the trees that surrounded her. She didn't have time to waste. There was still hope, a chance to find her friend and break the curse that claimed so many souls within these woods. But as the shadows lingered on the boundary of the light, doubt began to creep in. Don't look back, she muttered to herself, remembering the first lesson. She took a deep breath and pressed forward, one foot in front of the other, feeling lighter with each step yet heavy with determination. The clearing led to a narrow path, etched out through a thicket of gnarled trees. She moved quickly, feeling the air pulse with a desperate urgency around her. She could hear the whispers again, familiar, taunting, but she had the answers now. Rule 2. Trust no one. The words fueled her resolve. Deep down, she knew Caroline's voice was somewhere in the darkness, battling its hold. Keep going, Lily. You have to save her. Each memory of their adventures together resonated like echoes in the cavern of her heart, and she felt the power of those moments wrap around her like armor. Then it hit her, the glow from the lantern, its flickering warmth lingering in her memory. The light wouldn't lead her astray. She needed to harness the light, not just for herself but to guide Caroline back from the shadows. Suddenly, the trees shifted ominously, and a familiar face emerged from the fog. Lily Caroline's form materialized, her eyes glinting through the haze. Instinctively, Lily rushed toward her, but all the warnings flashed in her mind. Stay back. She shouted, but it didn't stop her friend from stepping closer, her expression plagued with confusion and vulnerability. "Why do you fight this?" Caroline whispered, her allure weaving through the fabric of Lily's resolve. "This place can free us both." "No, Caroline," she cried, taking a step back. "You're not lost. Fight it. Remember the good times." Clarity surged within her. This was the moment to awaken her friend from the icy grip of despair. She grasped her flashlight, pointing it at Caroline. The beam burst forth, illuminating the clearing with a fierce glow that rippled through the mist. "Caroline, you have to help me. We can escape this place together." Caroline's hollow eyes trembled, shifting between the shadows of recognition and the seductive pull of the forest. "Help us!" The shadows beckoned behind her like a dark ocean ready to swallow them both. "No!" Lily shouted, taking a step forward. "Caroline, fight! Listen to me." The moment hung thick in the air, tangible, as she tried to reach for her friend's heart. Memories flickered growing up together, laughing, roasting marshmallows under the stars, the bond that was their lifeline. Without a thought, Lily ran toward Caroline, refusing to let fear dictate her steps. "Trust me," she yelled. "We can do this." In that heartbeat, Caroline faltered, hesitating, and the shadows recoiled, their whispers turning into anguished howls. "I don't want to be lost," she cried, tears threatening to spill. "You don't understand, Lily." "I understand more than you know," Lily shouted, her voice echoing like thunder. "I refuse to let you go without a fight." She thrust the flashlight higher, the light cascading around them, illuminating the way back to hope. With a fierce heart, she lunged forward, wrapping her arms tightly around Caroline. As their bodies collided, the light surged, bathing them both in its glow, dispelling the waves of darkness that inched closer. "Together," Lily urged, pulling Caroline deeper into the light. "Remember who we are." The shadows howled, snapping at her heels, desperate and enraged. But with every ounce of their shared memories, every laughter and every tear, their bond ignited, merging with the light that filled the clearing like 1,000 suns. "Remember, Caroline." Lily pushed against the pull of the forest, cradling the warmth of their friendship like a sacred shield. "We are stronger than the darkness." With a final pulse of warmth, the light exploded, a blinding shimmer that wrapped around them both, drowning out the shadows. Caroline's eyes widened, tears shimmering, a flicker of recognition igniting in her gaze. "Lily!" she gasped, and in that moment, a surge of hope rammed through the darkness. As the void receded, the crisp light of dawn broke over the Smoky Mountains, the foliage illuminated with a vibrant glow that felt like an embrace. The whispers fell silent, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves in the soft breeze. Lily breathed, holding her friend tightly. "We did it. We're free." They stood together, the fear melting away with the warmth of the sunlight streaming through the treetops. They had not just escaped, they had risen above, shaped by the very darkness that had threatened to bind them. They had faced the shadows and emerged together, strong and reborn. "Let us go home," Caroline said, a smile breaking through the haze, her spirit reflecting the light around them. And as they stepped back down the mountain trails, the bond they forged within the shadows echoed in their hearts, a lingering reminder, even the most tangled paths could be untangled, and light could pierce through any darkness, if only they held on to each other. In that promise, Lily felt exhilaration. They had survived. But beyond the mountains, something still echoed the uproar of the forest, restless as they left, reminding them that the past would always linger, waiting for the next moment to reclaim its hold. "Lily!" Caroline's voice broke through her thoughts as they approached the clearing. "We have to remember the rules." Lily nodded, heart resolute. "We always will." And as they took the familiar trail back home, arm in arm, they felt the weight of every step and the thrill of every heartbeat, a promise of survival, and a vow not to forget. It was not just the mountains they would carry but the love that would keep them safe. They had faced the darkness, and together, they would forever shine. Now, dear friends, before we draw the curtain on this adventure, I need you to hit that subscribe button immediately. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the next gripping tale I bring just for you. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm. Your support means everything. And flood the comments with your reactions. I want to hear your theories and feelings about this wild ride. You need to share this journey with at least 5 friends, people who need to witness how true friendship will fight against the darkest of nights. Don't wait even one more second. Your voice matters, and every click helps light up our community.